Hello and welcome to video number 1 of OpenAirport's training and overview. Today's goals are to give you an overview of what OpenAirport can do, show you its mapping applications abilities, and show you the document management system part of it. Here I am sitting at the login screen with my username and password already provided. We can go ahead and hit the login button, and upon login we're welcomed to the dash panel screen. There's the airport name up on top, some help, your account, and logout. It gives us an ability to switch between the dash panel and document management system to the mapping application. In the dash panel we have the 327 discrepancies that are currently outstanding, any 339 inspections, training records, any NAV inspections, any NOTAMs, any 327 safety self-inspections that are recently, any wildlife hazard management records that have been completed today, some daily activity, some system user activity, and what the discrepancies are in their current life cycle that exist at the airport. For a quick overview on the 327 discrepancy life cycles, we have 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and 4, or red, yellow, green, and blue. Red discrepancies have been documented. They have not been fixed. They're just currently outstanding. Yellow discrepancies are discrepancies that have been fixed, but for some reason have been sent back to maintenance to fix again. For whatever reason, they don't meet regulations, and operations wasn't willing to close it that way. Green are discrepancies that have been repaired, but haven't been vetted through operations or maintenance to make sure that they actually meet the requirements or meet specifications. And blue discrepancies are discrepancies that operations or maintenance has cleared as being meets requirements, and everything about that discrepancy is good and then been repaired, so they can go ahead and close it out. We can click on either one of these boxes and learn more about the discrepancies that are there. In this case, I clicked on the red box, and it's going to give me a list of all the discrepancy locations that need to be repaired. Here we have just a targeter for a light is missing. It's some flush mounted light. We can click on that light and learn more about that particular light in general. We can open some commands for work orders. We can repair it. We can mark archived. We can mark as a duplicate. We can mark with an error. We could do different things to discrepancy from this map that we can do at other places as well, but we can also do it here on the report. Almost all the reports are interactive in some way or fashion that allow us to shortcut ways to document and manage our data rather than having to go through large menu structures to accomplish the same task. On the left side we have the main menu, which allows us to navigate all of the different types of menus that we have. From 303 we can go and look at all that stuff. We can go ahead and just close this window. We have all the different quick access from 303 to 327, 333. All the major documents that are required for part 139 are here. A magnifying glass means that that's a browsing application where we're going to be looking at different records. A plus sign is a way for us to add a new record into the database. And a monitor is a way for us to look at the results of an inspection that have deficiencies or discrepancies. A 327 monitor will list active or inactive discrepancies depending on how we look at it. We can filter the data for closed, for duplicates, for archived, for joins. We can look from start and end dates. For some text that looks like this, we can sort by pages, just depending on how we want to do that. We can map those results in different ways as well. We click on the map results button, and to do this I'm going to have to go back over here, but it also will then highlight where that discrepancy is on the mapping application. There's different utilities that we can use. We can print out discrepancies from on a calendar, in a distribution chart, in a mapping application, like in a different printable report, a printer-friendly report that looks basically just like the printout. And we can also export any geospatial data to Google Earth. So as long as it was something that was available on the mapping application, we can push all that data into Google Earth as well. And that's the rundown of what data looks like to browse the monitor. So the 339 monitor looks exactly the same. It would list things on a FICON that were not standard, like snow berms or any sort of obstructions that existed during the snow removal process that cannot be easily documented any other way. You essentially are adding a discrepancy into the field condition report that's non-standard to what the report actually says. In those reports, then we can also control that. In this case, nothing that we can do with an anomaly, but for a 327 discrepancy, we can go ahead and mark it closed. We can print out its work order. We can do a number of different things with that allow us to interact with the report. We can repair it. This discrepancy cannot be bounced. It can't be closed because it hasn't been fixed yet. There's a certain order things have to go in before things can be completed. In the mapping side of things, we can go ahead in the mapping application, and once again our discrepancy is still there, at least for the time being. We can click on the map and get different coordinates. So if somebody was going to go out in the field and you kind of had an idea as to where they were going, you can kind of direct them to like 100 by 767 and they know a general idea. It helps us interact with different objects on the airport, and as you'll see here in a little bit, everything gets geospaced not only to a latitude and a longitude, but to an X and Y coordinate as well. We can go ahead and display all of the equipment, hit refresh, and this will take a little bit of time as it sorts all of the different types of equipment, which would be signs and lights, geospace markings, anything on the airport that's not a vehicle or pavement or anything that's fixed by function essentially would be equipment in our case. We go to map it, we can scroll the map, and we can look at a taxiway light, for example. We know its ID, just basically what ID it is in the record, a name, taxiway B41, so this is the 41th light on taxiway B, and it gives us a general location as to its X and Y coordinate. If we click more info, we'll learn everything else there is to know about this light. Its ID, its name, what year it was built in, its model number, its latitude, its longitude, and different things like that. We'll know that it's an edge light. There's different type of things that it can be, but for us this is a taxiway B edge light. And also we can know what kind of light it uses. There's different type of lights used at the airport, but in this case it's an LED taxiway light fixture from Kraus-Heinz. We can close that. We don't necessarily have to close that to get to the next one. We can look at another runway light, and it just kind of moves around with us. We can look at more info. In this case, it's a runway 123 light, and it looks like there's actually an anomaly near this one. No discrepancies associated with it, but there is an anomaly. We can go ahead and map that anomaly, and you can kind of see that anomaly just got highlighted there. We can minimize this. We can click on the anomaly, and it's just a test anomaly that I put in to the system. It looks a little different than the rest of the reports, so we kind of know what we're looking at. So we know it's not a discrepancy from 327. It's just a field condition anomaly. Something was going on. In this case, just a test. We can narrow that down from equipment. We can narrow that down to like taxiway 1230 PAPIs. We hit refresh, and only the PAPIs will be displayed for 1230. Same deal. We can click on them, learn more about them, what they are. We learn its bulb, whatever. We can go ahead and remove PAPIs, and we can just do runway 1230 runway identifier lights. You know, we can sort things out however we want to look at it. We can click on that, learn more about that light. You know, close that. We don't need that right now. And we can go ahead in that dash panel screen. We have commands that we can issue for that discrepancy. Once again, the idea is to give users access to data, not just one way, but in any logical way that it would make sense that they would interact with that discrepancy. They have the ability to alter it wherever they're looking at it. So for example, and when you're browsing 327 inspections, you can click on the reports for those inspections, and here we have a regularly scheduled inspection checklist. It has all of our checklist items. In this case, this is where we had our light is missing, and it looks like we have a damaged missing light with an X. Light is missing or damaged. If we want to know more about it, we can click on the work order, and we can learn more about it on the work order form. We can also mark it repaired. So here we are at the repaired screen, looking at discrepancy, light is missing. Once again, we can load up that work order or general information about that discrepancy to learn more about it before we were to interact with it. We always want to be educated and knowledgeable when we're interacting with our discrepancies. So there's always information displayed about that discrepancy wherever you're interacting with it. You can close that, and that's the report. If there's nothing in that report, it'll just look like a bunch of green crosses with no discrepancies issued. And that's basically a general overview of what OpenAirport's navigational system looks like. Thank you, and we'll do another video in a little bit.